The O'Keefe Challenge is a point-to-point event held between Bendigo and Heathcote, located in central Victoria. Moose has run it, I've run it, and Croaks wishes he's run it. Follow the historic O'Keefe Rail Trail as it weaves its way through bushland, open fields, farms, and past Lake Epilogue. There's a 5k, a 10k, a half marathon, and a marathon on offer on Sunday, the 1st of May. Enter now at theo'keefe.com.au.
That your skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place? Undercover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking.
Welcome to episode number 225 of the Inside Running Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week. Big show coming at you this week. A lot of results to go through. All our usual segments. Be zoning in, Skyping in down to Tasmania to hear from Richard Welsh about the Hobart Run the Bridge, which is coming up this week, to give a bit of a preview of that. Training talk segment, listener question segment. It's all happening. Welcome to this week's show. My co-host down in Anglesea, Julian Spence. How you going?
Pretty good, thank you, mate.
New microphone tonight as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I was in JB the other day, and I was literally just standing around waiting for something, and I was just leaning up against the counter with microphones. I'm like, oh shit, I probably should get one of these, considering we do podcasting every week, and it's shiny. I'm not sure if you'll notice a difference. It might sort of smooth me out a little bit.
Oh yeah, you sound good. And you have had a microphone in the past. Don't pretend we've done 200 plus episodes with no mic, but it broke and now you've got a new one.
Yeah, the other one's here. I can't get them confused. I got to get rid of it.
Yeah, chuck it in the bin.
Yeah.
Hey, last time I heard your voice, you're on SEN, Big Dog radio station with Kane Corns.
Oh, yeah. Well, 1 week ago, Cornsey loves his running. Just thought he'd get the highest profile runner in the country on for a little chat on mainstream media radio.
He's good for sport, Corns, isn't he?
He is. That's what I said to him. I said, kudos, you bring it to the mainstream and you make us, like, he gets a lot of shit. I love listening to them make fun of him as a runner, like how thin he is and how crazy he is running, like, around the lake and how often he runs. It's pretty funny because that's kind of what happens to us if we go to, like, a social setting with our mates who don't run. You just cop shit the whole time for being super skinny and wasting your time running.
Were you nervous doing it? Like, that must have went out to a million, wouldn't it? How many listeners would he have? 500,000?
I wouldn't think it's a million. No, he was filling in for Jared Waitley. I don't think it was, maybe it was, I don't know. But no, like, he was just asking me questions. So I find if someone's asking you questions, you don't get nervous, but if you have to deliver like something yourself without any prompting, and that's when you get a bit more nervous.
Hey Moose, how much did it cost Surf Coast Track Club to get on the show and plug the camp? That's what I thought it was for.
Yeah, so just had the end there.
Just a bunk for Cornsey in the group, like the shared living room. We'll put a give him a bunk, give him a meat pie, and that's him good. He's happy.
Exactly. Yeah, I did like that. I did like the inside running plugs early on. Cornsey was good there. I'm like, oh, this is good. And then it got on to the Surf Coast Track Club, and I'm like, how many radio shows is this guy going to appear on plugging this thing?
I haven't even, I didn't even butter him up for that. That was out of the blue. That's good
from him. We will put the link in the show notes if you want to go and listen to Moose on the mainstream radio station.
But also
7 or 8 minutes.
Speaking about that training camp, did you see the video that went up just before, about an hour ago?
I'm sick of videos. Every time I open up Instagram, I see a video of the
This was drone footage of some of the tracks you might run on.
Hey, Brady, I reckon if the camp was popular and people were signing up, you wouldn't have to plug it anymore.
Yeah, mate, they're signing up. We're nearly filling up. If you don't get your email in quick, then you might miss out. You might have to go to some camp like, I don't know, East Melbourne somewhere. Where
how many spots have you got?
Oh, they're limited, the spots.
They've been limited for the last 3 weeks. Spots filling fast, not many left for a month now.
I just don't want people to miss out. It would just be devastating.
Welcome to you, Croaks. How are you going up there in Canberra?
Going well, Brady. I'm feeling like, well, my body I reckon is the best it's been since 2018. I feel like I've turned the corner from, like, I'm not fit, but I definitely feel like I've turned the corner in terms of how I feel when I'm running. And as I said, my body's been as good as as I can remember in the last few years. So running's been enjoyable.
Bit of positivity around. This is good. Do you want to take us through your week? Because I feel like we're nearly all in the same spot. We've all had a bit of a rough last couple of weeks, and now we're just starting to turn a page. All years. Motivation's high. Some good things happening.
Yes. So Monday I didn't run because I came off the sickness the weekend before. So I thought I'll just give it another day because my appetite wasn't great on the Monday. So then got out on Tuesday morning. So I decided I wasn't going to go and do a session with the group Tuesday afternoon. So I just went for a run, just did an hour at Mulligan's, 4:31s. That was Tuesday. Wednesday, pretty much another hour, 4:23s. And then Thursday, they've got the heavy machinery in Mulligan's at the moment, fixing up all the trails. So they're really I wouldn't say they're in great nick right now because, when the heavy machinery comes in, sometimes it leaves a bit of a sandy sort of top to it. But I reckon once that sort of compacts and we get a little bit of rain, the trails are going to be as good as they've probably ever been. So that was exciting. Saw my first snake of the summer. It was a black snake. I normally see brown ones out there, but this was a black one.
Hang on. So Moose talked to us last week and asked us if we've seen a snake this season. Me and you both say no. Tuesday you see a snake. My Tuesday also saw a snake.
Oh, this was Thursday for me.
Oh.
But, yeah.
What sort of snake?
It was a black one.
Mine was a dead brown snake.
Oh, you saw a dead snake?
Yeah.
I saw
dead snakes last week.
Mine was alive.
Dead ones still scared the shit out of me.
What colour was its tummy?
Oh, I didn't see that. So when I was approaching it, so it was about 100 metres away. I'm like, what's that across the trail? Is that like a stick or whatever? And then as I got closer, it sort of just went off into the bushes, and I could basically just see the top of it, and it was just black. So I'm guessing it's probably a red belly. What other black snakes are there?
Well, funny you should say this, because Blakeho's the snake expert. He was quick to correct someone else the other day when they posted a snake. Red-bellied black snakes, they're very black, like very dark black. But there's a lighter black copperhead with a sort of orangey type belly.
Yeah, no, this was pretty black. Like this is real dark. So
both of those will kill you too, won't they, Moose?
I reckon they're both bad.
Red bellies aren't too bad. Brown snakes are bad though, which they're the most popular ones I see in Mulligan's. Generally, always a brown snake.
They kill you quick as well too, don't they?
Yeah, hopefully. I've always thought about that. I'm like, shit, what would I do? Because often I'm out there, and especially because it's 29 degrees, I'm not wearing a top, so I don't have a lot to sort of use as a compression bandage. And then it's like that whole, do you just sit and wait, or do you try and just walk?
If you got your phone on you, you ring Brett Coleman and he'll tell you exactly what to do.
I don't run with my phone.
How do you get the music then?
Garmin.
Oh, you used one of them.
Yeah, Garmin Music Watch. So anyway, that was just 10.5K, 4:17s, and I was feeling good. Even the heat wasn't bothering me. And the biggest issue I've had the last few years is I got myself physiologically fit, but I've always just had these muscle imbalances where the message from my brain to my muscles, there's just been this disconnect. And for the first time for ages, I'm actually running and I'm just my back's not tight and I feel like my hips are high and I'm tall and it's just completely different. And so although I'm not fit, it's I'm enjoying running way more than I was when I was fit. So anyway, that was Thursday. Friday, I did a session in the morning on the treadmill before I took Lily to swim lessons. So I did 5 by 6 minutes off a minute rest. I did 4 the week before. I just dialed back the pace on the treadmill a little bit this week. So I did the first 4 reps at 16.5k an hour, which is high 330s per k. And then the last rep pumped it up to 17k, which is closer to 330s. And like, it was an enjoyable session. They were all in that sort of comfortably hard where the heart rate got into like low to mid 160s, during the rep. And then, within the minute rest, it would sort of drop back down to 130, 140. But I got off that session feeling like I'd put in a decent amount of effort, but wasn't, just wasn't spent, so that sort of comfortably hard zone. And then, Saturday, back out to Mulligan's. No surprise there. I listened to the long and the short of it. So that was another really good episode. Race of the week was the 2016 Olympic 1500 metre final for men. So the real tactical one that Centro won in 350. So that was an hour, or actually just over 14k at 425s. And I was feeling so good and really enjoying my running that afternoon I just jumped on the treadmill, set it to 12k an hour, which is supposedly 5-minute Ks, put the heart rate strap on. It was average like low 130s. And then Sunday, I wasn't sure. I wanted to do somewhere between 90 minutes and an hour 45. So in the last 10 weeks, I've done one run longer than 70 minutes, and that was 2 weeks ago. I did 90, and then the weekend after that I got sick, so I didn't do a long run. And so I ended up doing an hour 45 at 4:16 average. Felt pretty good, like definitely by the end of it. Like I didn't feel physically tired. And this is probably the other thing about how my body feels now. Like before, I was feeling completely gassed really early in runs because I was just so inefficient. Whereas this run, like even I'm not that fit, like energy wise, I was good the whole run. And like finished the run still full of running. So 24.6k in the hour 45, and that got me like bang on 100k, which is that was my longest run and my biggest week since the 5th of December. So what's that? That's like nearly 2.5 months. So body's feeling good, motivation's pretty high.
Just in time next week to smash out 32k at 357.
No, well actually, remember a couple of weeks ago I said that I was going to, I'd been thinking about what I wanted to do. I want to do a little bit of an experiment for the next few months, and I'll let you boys know what it is. It's I guess an abbreviated sort of Ingebrigtsen style sort of training. So, and I spoke to Christian about this probably like a month ago, just as I was sort of thought, all right, I'm almost ready to start sort of doing some sessions again. And so what I was thinking of doing was 5 sessions over the space of 2 weeks. So one session, so every Tuesday I would alternate between 1K reps and say 400s off 30 seconds recovery. Then my second session for the week would alternate between that sort of 5-6 minute reps off a minute. And then the other session I might just do like a bit of a longer tempo or a progression run or something like that. But then every second week, I thought on the Saturday I would do a short hill session. And so build that up to doing 2 sets of, I know they do like 2 sets of 10, but like I won't do that to start with. Like I might just do 10 200-meter hills to start with, but slowly build the volume of those sessions up. Now, when it comes to the intensity, the 6-minute reps would be around like 60-minute to half marathon like effort or pace, like depending on what sort of shape I'm in. The 3-minute reps would be somewhere between 10k and probably like 10-mile race pace, or like 45-minute, 50-minute sort of race pace. The 400s anywhere between probably try and average somewhere around like 7k race pace, so somewhere between 5 and 10k. And obviously the hills would just be like solid efforts. And then in between it would just be basically hour runs. Sundays would be an hour 45 to 2 hours, like nothing super quick. And I just wanted to try that for like a couple of months and just see how fit I get off that, because in terms of intensity, other than the hill reps, like those sessions aren't that hard.
That doesn't sound like revolutionary type stuff. I mean, you're doing 1K reps basically at 10K pace or a bit slower.
Slower. Yeah, I think it's more. Yeah, I think it's more the intensity. I think most people train a lot harder than that.
Yeah. The structure of the sessions is similar with less intensity. That's how I'm reading it.
Yeah, because you think like when we often talk, you're going to a 30-minute tempo and it's somewhere around like 60-minute sort of race pace or effort. Now that's a hell of a lot harder than doing 5 by 6 minutes at the same sort of pace off a minute recovery.
Yes.
And as I said, I'd probably alternate doing that 1 week with like a bit of a longer tempo, but I'd probably slow the pace down for that. But yeah, I'm just curious to see how it goes. Doing it for a couple of months. What I need to do though is probably just go down to parkrun and do just a solid 5K, just to actually see, what sort of shape I'm in, so I can actually work out the zones. Yeah.
But I don't think what you're doing is, it's not like, I think the biggest change is not butchering yourself in the workouts. So when you come away from this, like and you have a good result and you feel better and you're more consistent, you're like, oh, it's the lower intensity that's been the benefit. It's not like the structuring of those sessions as some type of revolutionary formula.
Exactly.
Is the key.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm basically just copying the sessions that those guys do, but the biggest change is like the intensity of sessions and finishing them knowing I could do probably half to the full session again.
Yeah.
Which, I think it's a good experiment just to see. And look, I don't think that I flog myself in sessions generally anyway, but this would be even easier than what I would normally do. So I'm just curious, and I think having the podcast is a good platform to just, do a bit of an experiment and see how fit you can get. And if I do get pretty fit, then maybe people can realise that they don't actually have to train that hard. I know it's not Ingebrigtsen training because they do like double session days. I'm definitely not doing that, and I don't even think I would get to the point where I do 3 sessions a week. I think I just do the hill session every second week.
Yeah, it's good. I like it, and I've always thought running in general will get you fitter. The sessions are just something to stop us getting too bored, and it's going to be more consistent for you. Like, what's held you back from running well? Injuries, right? And if we, like, for me, intensity brings on more injuries than jogging. So it makes a lot of sense as we age to bring our intensity and workouts down.
And I think there's I guess the one issue might be like you just get sick of doing the same stuff. But I think there's enough variety there that, you alternate once, the Tuesday session alternates every 2 weeks. You do the 6-minute session every second week, and then I have freedom on that second week to do, a straight tempo or a progression run, or, that's probably the one session that I just mix up depending on how I feel. I could do a bit of a fartlek out at Mulligan's or something. But anyway, so I'm going to start pretty much from this week and see how we go.
So those long runs, though, they do their long runs fairly swiftly.
Yeah, they do, and they only do 80 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing I'm not going to do, because I personally feel like there's benefit for me in doing an hour 45 to 2 hours most weeks, and given that the sessions probably won't bang me up that much, I don't have an issue doing 1 hour 45 to 2 hours. And, ideally I'll start doing them with a few more people and the pace will be a bit slower. Like 4:16s was probably a bit too quick for current fitness. But when my fitness improves, I'd like to probably just keep it at about that 4:16s when I'm fit. Yeah.
And it'll be interesting as you progress in fitness to keep the ego in check for those workouts, because you'll be tempted to go, oh gee, I feel good. I reckon I could roll a few here.
But this is where you guys, I've said this now on air, and so you guys have to keep me accountable. And
we will.
And what I'll do though is maybe once a month or so go and do a park. If I feel like I'm significantly fitter than what I was, at my previous benchmark, then I'll go and do one just to see what sort of fitness I'm in now. So maybe in a couple of weeks I'll do a park run, and then I'll keep this going and maybe look at doing like Sydney 10, so like the first weekend in May, because that's sort of 9 weeks away, so that's sort of a pretty good period to see how fit I've got over that. Yeah.
All right,
that's me done.
I like this. It could be in a bit of trouble for Storley and Moose if he continues this. This is the smartest thing he's said in 5 years.
The ego's coming back soon. Once he gets in that little diagony of the feet, come along, challenge him up a couple of hills, all of a sudden that intensity that's going off the Richter.
We'll see. I'm willing to give it a go.
Hey, so can you call Christian your coach now?
No, but we did have a bit of a chat.
He's helped you out with a bit of this stuff.
Yeah,
give him some credit.
Sensei.
Yeah, it was more about trying to work out, okay, what are the intensities? So for like roughly, 3 millimole for 6 minute reps, he reckons it was around half marathon pace. And then he reckons for the 3 minute reps, it's around 3 to 4 seconds a K faster than that, which does sort of put that into the 45 minute, like about 10 mile race pace. And then he reckons that for the 400s, guys like Ingebrigtsen's and that, they'll run those closer to 5K. But he reckons for us, it's better off, starting a bit slower and being more like in that 10K to 7K race pace, and then maybe work down to sort of 5K towards the end of the session.
I reckon you could get one of those lactate pros that I got.
I could. So like that would be obviously I just don't know whether I want to go to that length. Like, I think close enough's good enough. And, you get a fair idea. Like that session I did on the treadmill on Friday, it's like, this is about what I could hold for probably an hour. So you sort of know. But as you said, Moose, it's about, generally deep down, it's just that the ego takes hold.
Because there's nothing sexy about it. You just got to string those weeks together and you'll be real strong. Do that for 6 weeks.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And injury-free, hopefully.
The key to their program and their sessions is it's the volume. Like they get through quite a lot of volume because the intensity is not high. So like, the K reps, I might actually, slowly increase it from 6 to 8 to get to 10. And it's more about the volume that you get through as opposed to actually running the reps faster. Oh yeah,
Moose, what have you been doing?
Down week for me this week. So 1 run a day only. That was my down week. I wanted to do that to just let this little Achilles thing come good, and it did. So I got a little bit more rest. Monday, Watto come down from Ballarat, did a thresh test with him on the treadie. So I jogged 6K warm up with him and then 6K cool down. So got an hour in that way, or close enough to an hour. And then that afternoon, got on the cross trainer. Tuesday morning, before I head to Ballarat, went out and did a kind of a hilly bush loop out behind the old coal mine. That was nice. It's getting a bit darker in the mornings now, so 6:30. You leave the house, it's pretty much dark, really. So you'll be lit headlamp soon enough. Ran a workout the next morning, ran a moose fartlek. So just after we chatted the other day about it, I thought I'd go and do one in Vic Park, and Toby joined me. Toby's a fair bit fitter than I am, so I was a bit worried about how this would all happen. He was very respectful though, stayed with me for 3 to 4 reps, and I gave him a warning beforehand, don't be half stepping me on this. Like, I'd rather you 10 metres up the road than half a foot in front of me the whole time. So he was good. He hung back and then dropped me in the last couple of reps. But this was actually a pretty good workout for me based on the previous couple of weeks. So I ran 3 minutes. My 3 minute intervals were 3:10, 3 minute, 3:15, 3:01, 3:03. This is through the park where GPS is a little funky. So that's why they're kind of all over the shop. And then the 1 minute reps. I messed that up. I messed that way up. So anyway, they're all pretty fast for what I thought. One of them was 2:49 pace, boys. How about that? Downhill.
It's dodgy in there.
Yeah, it's pretty dodgy. But it got it through it and ended up averaging like 3:28 for half an hour. I'll probably have to go back and check what others I've done here. I I just jogged the recoveries. You could tell Toby was a bit antsy. He was starting to half-step me on the recoveries, which is a sign that you're going okay when you don't have to slow it down much between intervals.
I can see where he left you because you were like running sort of 4:30s for the recoveries, and then when he left you, he's gone to like 5:16 per k.
Yeah, fuck off, Toby. I'm going to actually recover. We had a group the next day, so I stayed up Wednesday night, Thursday morning, organised a bit of a group to run out in the bush from the water towers. We had like 5 or 6 of us or something. So a bit kind of sort of slow because we're on the trails and it was dark initially. So just an hour 8. And then the next morning back on the surf coast, I did a threshold, a broken threshold. So 12 minutes, 10 minute, 8 minutes, 6 minutes with 2-minute jogs between. And I went and did it on this loop called the Port Reef Norton's Loop, where it's in a farming area just out of town. Dirt roads. I really didn't consider how corrugated they would be, but they were terrible. So trying to land when they're so corrugated, it's just, especially with alpha flies on, your shoe doesn't even fit in between the corrugations, and it's so soft that, yeah, not a good call. They were a little better on the other, like on the top side of the loop, but this was a good workout too. So this was probably the best one I've had coming back, and it wasn't even fast or anything, but I just felt really comfortable the entire way. So the first 12 minutes was 3:22, and then the next one was quite hilly, 3:29, and then I went downhill, 3:21s, and then uphill 3:17s. But my heart rate was really in check on these, and Ali was on the bike with me, so it's good to have company. I was making sure that I could talk to her. That was kind of a sign that I wanted to stay in control on each rep. So if I couldn't hold a conversation with her during the rep, I was going too hard. But yeah, I felt really confident after this because I thought that's not too bad. 12k, 3:31s, and the heart rate was good data. So just jogged the next day. Started the run and met Tony, runs for Collingwood. Don't know whether you've met Tony. You know Tony, Brady? Older fella. Runs with the midday milers. Anyway.
Probably if I've seen him. AV kind of guy.
Big AV guy.
Do you know the last name?
I didn't even... I called him Paul, actually, the entire run until the very end when I left, and I said, "Oh, thanks for the run, Paul." And he goes, "Oh, Tony, it's Tony." And fuck, I actually knew his name was Tony for some reason. In my head it was Paul. We had a good loop though. Just chilled out on the run, so he's coming back. He's not that fit, so it slowed me down, which was actually really nice. And then Sunday got out Surf Coast Track Club. I did 2 hours, which was 27.58. Still give it a bit on this run. I know it was only 4:21s, but we had some serious hills towards the end. This Bimbadeen loop, very kind of hilly section of track. I mean, there was a few hills early, but then once we started to get a little cooked, we went over this Bimbadeen loop, and they're short and sharp and real steep. So my heart rate was 149 average for the loop, which is starting to get into just into that zone 2 or whatever you call it,
outside of zone 2, isn't it?
There's different people have different definitions of what zones they are. So this is the zone this is the zone harder than recovery below threshold.
But not the zone you want to be in for a long run.
Well, I don't know. I actually don't mind that zone for a long run. I'm all right with it. I think I've seen a lot of success come from guys and girls that spend time in that zone on long runs. I feel like it's a real strength builder, and I think if you're recovering properly, then I'm all right with it.
And a
Is this the same moose that bloody ripped me to shreds for friggin' years?
It depends on how he's going at the moment, folks. If he's doing it, it's okay.
Croaks, you were running 3 sessions a week back then. You had niggles. You
I was
complaining.
only doing 2.
Anyway.
I've only ever been doing 2 sessions a week since we've done this podcast.
I'll decide what's smart around here. So, yeah, 115 for the week and ready to come back up again.
Come back up. Good. Yep. I like that. I'll go through my week quickly. I did 60 minutes on Monday at 4:43 pace. We're still struggling Monday with all the stuff I was whinging about last week, but I started to turn a page Tuesday. So got out for the workout. I think both of you guys have been talking about similar workouts to this, the 5-minute reps at threshold. So I did 5 by 5 minutes off 90 seconds jog. Just kind of similar to what you're saying, kind of like under-training, not over-training. Like usually in the past I might do these at, 306, 308, 310. But I kind of averaged 313 pace, and the heart rate didn't really get much higher than like 155, 160. And it felt good, felt smooth. Saw that dead snake that I was telling you about. Did it solo. Archie had a different workout, so kind of just could stay in my own kind of fitness level. And yeah, I was pretty happy with the way this one panned out and the pace and the heart rate, which was good. So I got that done in the morning, then got out for 30 minutes after school on the Tuesday. So that was pretty hot, 37. That's a bit hot, fellas, 37 degrees. And was just, looking at the heart rate, making sure it was pretty low and just letting that heart rate dictate how fast I was running there. On Wednesday, got out for 60 minutes to listen to the Inside Jogging podcast. Josh Lunn, he was meant to do Seville on the weekend, so he kind of, it's I guess what people do with us. You kind of listen and you kind of invest time in listening to these people train towards marathons. And when it's race week and it's looking like you're not going to make the start line, and he kind of left us on the edge of the seat, kind of went off the episode saying he wasn't sure if he was going to race or not. So, it was
made some bad calls though, didn't he? Didn't he make some bad decisions?
Yeah. You mean like with overtraining and stuff a few weeks out?
Oh, mate, always
pushing
packing on 20% on every run. Like, we'll go a bit longer today. I was supposed to do 10 miles, but I did 13 instead, and then does workouts too quick.
Aaron
always
pulls him up on it a lot though too.
Aaron, so but his coach Clousey, soft cop, just pussy of a coach. I'm blaming Clousey for this calf or Achilles or whatever it is. Clousey needs to pull him into line, just show a bit of just a bit of a firm hand there.
Just whip him in, you reckon?
He needs a bit of control in his life, Josh. He just gets away with whatever he wants. It's on Clousey.
Needs a bit of discipline. So, listen to that. And it just goes back to that, the importance of getting to the start line, which is, it's a massive problem in marathons when people sign up for it, especially kind of at our kind of sub-elite level as well. Like, people push the envelope and don't make it. It's pretty common, isn't it? Like, people
common.
Yeah.
So common. And it's a bit greedy at times. It's like a feeling of invincibility around people. You could see it. I mean, Josh is the example, and I've been telling him the whole time, you're making some bad decisions here. He kept making them though, and even 10 days out when he's recapping his week, he said, I had to stop on the second rep or whatever because of my Achilles pulled up a bit sore. Next day, 6-mile jog. I was supposed to do 8, but I only did 6 because it got sore. You are 8 days out from a marathon or something. Don't run. You don't need to go run 10K today. You need to get that thing right, because what's going to stop you from running the marathon? Not running 10K, that's for sure. Give it a spell. Get yourself right, and then pushing workouts back. Don't do the workout. That workout is gone now. Forget the workout. Get your body right for the day. And I was listening, going, wrong. Come on, mate.
Anyway, Josh, if you want a new coach, it sounds like Moose is more than happy to give you some pointers.
Well, he's got no respect for himself. He's got no respect for his body. Got no respect for Clousey.
All right. If you want to know what I'm talking about here, just go back and listen to it yourself, and you'll be able to play along.
Send those fuckers an invoice too for this chat.
In the afternoon on Wednesday, got out for 30 minutes. This was like my favourite run of the week, actually. It wasn't until like 7:15 p.m, but I was covering the ground well. My legs were turning over good, none of that stiffness anymore, none of that hamstring niggle from the skate park the week before, none of that stuff. Had Dr. Dre playlist just playing on shuffle. Jeez, he's got some hits, that guy. And then I ran through. We got a set of traffic lights being set up in Moama, fellas. The tradies have been working on it for months. It's for the new bridge that's going over the Murray River, and they finally turned them on. So I noticed when I was running that the traffic lights are on, and I was like, shit, they finally got these traffic lights going, which is pretty cool, because that's the first set of traffic lights we've got in Moama. Echuca's got 3 sets, but we finally got our first pair. So big news for the town, and it was just the highlight of my run. Just a combination of 3 good factors there. So that was exciting Wednesday night. Thursday got out for 80 minutes, long with the short of it, 4:30 pace. So you notice my pace is just getting a bit quicker than what it was the last couple of weeks. Friday did 10 by 2 minutes at CV effort, I'm calling this. So like that 3:03, 3:05 kind of pace. And similar to Tuesday, just kind of slowing things down a bit instead of flogging myself. Just taking 3 or 4 seconds per K off some of my workouts. Did that off a minute jog. So that was a good way to spend 30 minutes. And then got out for 30 minutes in the afternoon, 70 minutes on Saturday. And then Sunday morning with Glenn, did an hour and 55 minutes. It was 27.5 K, 4:12 average. That was nice to be ticking along at that pace. And 138 beats per minute average. So that was my biggest run since Melbourne Marathon and my biggest week since Melbourne Marathon, which was 136k. So, yeah, similar to what you were banging on about before, Croaks. Nothing sexy in there, but I reckon if I can do 3 weeks like that, because I'm already pretty fit. It was just that mechanically I wasn't covering the ground well, what you were kind of talking about, similar stuff. My heart rate data and all that's good. I just need to string 3 weeks together. But I'm also aware that I'll probably get COVID soon, which is going to smack me for a week. So I wish
you just resigned to it.
Yeah, well, if you haven't got it yet, you're going to get it soon. Especially working in schools, we got people. It's pretty. I think we had 6 teachers today out, and then
Jeez.
So if it's not, it's a matter of when, not if. I think so, which will probably come at bad time and just when I'm getting going again. But anyway, that's okay. Just what we're dealing with, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. You don't want to get it. I know you're going to get it, but you don't want to get it.
At least I'm triple vax now. I had my booster the other day. Did I tell you guys that as well? I think I got it last Sunday. So, and I was fine. Nothing at all that affected my running. So that was good.
That is good.
Can't complain there. So,
what do you have? What was your combo again?
I was Pfizer for the booster, and then I got 2 AstraZenecas for the, for my first and second shot.
Yep.
So that was good. Let's thank some Patreon supporters, hey? Ready for this? I'm going to go first this week. I've got Neil Barth, who's actually celebrating his 60th birthday on the 26th of Feb. So that's coming up pretty soon. He is an avid Inside Running podcast listener and has inspired quite a few of his mates up in Queensland to become Patreon supporters. I like this fella so that they can discuss the episode on their Tuesday night speed session. So
nice.
They get to listen to
Neil.
it early. I think he was training with guys and he's like, hey, don't wait for the Wednesday release. Get on Patreon so we can talk about it Tuesday. Check out these PBs. So remember, 60th birthday coming up next week. 5K, which he just said a couple of months ago, 1650. Is also ran at 39.29 recently, 1:18 for the half marathon and 2:52 for the marathon. Is a real man of the people up there, often paces people going for PB attempts up there, and recently celebrated his 350th park run and was how's that? And was the co-founder of the Rocks Riverside Park Run and its first run director, and it's one of the largest park runs in Brisbane now. He's also good company on a long run, and he shares some serious observations about running or complaining about his companions. I believe this is from one of his mates. He believes he would be most like Moose in temperament. So
sounds like a great fella.
He's a real man, a good person, isn't he, going by that? And I do want to show you guys something. Him and his running buddies have this bingo card that they play. It's called Bath Bingo. And they obviously, tick one thing off when they run with him if he mentions things like this. So one of them comments on the weather. Another one says how busy he is. Another one mentions a recent or upcoming shoe purchase. Another one disagrees about when to turn around on a run. Another one mentions someone's lack of Strava feed. Another one complains about selfies. So I really think, who's this reminder of, Croaks?
Yeah, the big moose.
I'm just thinking about our Sundays. I'm like, this sounds like actually a fun game because we do a lot of repetitive stuff on our Sunday.
So they've set this whole game up for him, and then they play it when they jog with him. So
does he know about the game?
I'm not sure if he knows about the game, but they've got a full-on bingo card and stuff. I'm actually just sending it to you guys now so you can actually see how legit it is. It's got a coloured heading and, have a look in our message group right now. It's pretty cool what I don't know, maybe he knows about it, but yeah, I thought that was very funny and obviously a pretty cool running culture up there in Brisbane.
That's very great. Good. I love it.
Happy birthday, Neil, and thanks for your support of the Inside Running podcast. And happy running up there with all the things that are coming up.
Yeah, good on you, Neil.
Who you got?
I've got Meg this week. There's no address and no last name for Meg. I'm sure she does have a last name, but we just don't know what it is. You guys know Meg, who's a runner who would like hearing us?
Oh. Probably not hearing us. I know Meg that runs, but yeah, she wouldn't listen to us.
Yeah, I don't think I know any Megs. I don't think.
You reckon maybe an ultra runner, Brady?
Well, I just her email address was there and I tried to siphon the name out of it to try and make some sense out of her email address, and then maybe an American ultra runner has a similar kind of name. But
yeah, okay.
There's a lot of anonymous Patreon supporters, people that sign up under they leave no name or just want to keep a low profile.
I don't mind that though. They're the true fans, I suppose, in a way. They just want to chip in and help us out, don't want the accolades of getting a mention on air.
So we just try to make it up.
They probably just want to listen to Jess Stenson over there on that podcast.
Possibly.
Jess is good over there, isn't she? Louis getting better too. Luke's good, of course, but Louis coming out of his skin. Had a good dig at you last week, Moose.
That was gold.
It wasn't a good dig. It was actually
piss out of your tattoo.
Wasn't funny at all.
I liked it. Correct. I liked it.
There was not a joke involved. I don't know.
Giving him shit about, he reckons that he talks about college, which he hardly ever did, and so then he ripped into you about your college.
Anyway, I didn't think it was funny, but that's just
because it's about you. That's why. Who are you thanking, Moose?
I've got Philip Tickle from Toowong. Toowong is in Queensland. Philip has a PB 3K 10:41. That was last week actually. So Philip is in red hot form. 5K 18:42, 10K 39:28, half marathon 1:28. Melbourne Marathon 3:28, so got some work to do on the marathon. Runs with In Training in Queensland, so we know them, white and red, and seems to be very social runner going by the photos. What does that mean? Takes a lot of selfies?
He just had a lot of group selfies up, and every photo there was just different people in them.
Oh, so do you reckon Neil gets stuck into Philip a lot?
Well, Philip and Neil. Philip may be very good mates with Neil.
That's what I'm talking about,
He doesn't
not
like
a fan
his
of all the
selfies.
pictures. Yeah,
maybe that's it. So, and Philip recently purchased some merch off us as well. So a big thank you, Philip, for purchasing a Nike Inside Running singlet.
Nike Aero Swift.
Sorry for the technical details I was lacking there.
People got it top of the range singlet. Philip's getting looked after it.
It's a good singlet. Thanks to our Patreon supporters. If you like what we do at the Inside Running podcast, you can sign up. There's 3 different levels over there. Hopefully, if this show brings you value, you can chip in to help us out. That is Patreon. Thanks. Let's go to running news. Tasmanian champs. I'll go there first, fellas. The 5K down there. Bailey Murzecki-Hince. So this is a name that used to come up a bit on the road to nowhere. I remember Nick Earl used to talk about him all the time. He got the win, 14:18 PB down there. And I think they talk about him as the guy who used to be 3rd or 4th, but he's come out and he's beaten Sam Clifford, who ran 14:22, and he's beaten Nick Earl, who ran 14:33. And then Josh Harris was in fourth in 14:38. So good to see Josh Harris back in shape as well. But a very big win for Bailey down there to take those guys down. So hats off to him for making that kind of jump in progression. Your thoughts there, fellas? Tassie, that's some strong results for Tassie, those four.
Well, it's not quite the calibre of like the Vic champs or the South Australian champs or
True.
the Queensland champs, I'm guessing, as well, will go pretty quick. So, I mean, it's great by Bailey. He's taken down some names, and who knows, it's championship racing. Times don't matter, really. Could have gone out first through 3K in 10 minutes. We don't know that. Probably not, but but yeah, Bailey, good. State champ, big dog, coached by Collis. Yeah.
So the women's race as well. Ebony Webb won that in 17:40. Jemima Lennon was second in 18:25, and Anna Smee was third in 18:43. Croaks take me to the indoor champs, not the indoor champs, just some indoor racing. Kat Bisset was in action.
Yeah, so both Kat Bisset and Linden Hall have headed overseas recently for some indoor races. So in Birmingham, Kat Bisset set a new Australian 800-metre indoor record of 159.46, and Linden finished third in the 1,500 metres, running 407.36. So pretty solid running, given it's the start of the season for these girls. Like off the back of the Olympics, they would have had a bit of downtime, and they're slowly rebuilding. So not a bad place to be starting from.
Did you see the British record went down in that too, didn't it? 157?
Yeah, 157, yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's an Australian record. It's a big deal, really. Like, we...
159.4. Remember 2 years ago? Remember when we donated to Kat Bisset's GoFundMe page so she could go overseas to try and break 2? And now she just does it easy, indoors.
I feel like we're talking about records, like Australian records, dropping every weekend at the moment.
Well, what about the British ones? So they had a 800-metre record. The week before, Mark Scott ran a 5K record. Didn't he run like 13:03 or something on the track? Something like that at Boston Indoors. And then they had...
Bouchard, 7:39.
He ran a really good 3K. And then they had Elise McCoglin running 66:24 or something, like the second fastest behind Paula Radcliffe for a half marathon.
2:22 marathon as well on the weekend.
2:22, yeah. Steph Pisecki, yeah. So like that's... Jess, is it? Jess. So there was another UK Olympian, Steph, wasn't it? Steph something?
Hey, Brady, Mark Scott actually ran 12:57.
12:57, yeah.
Yeah, we better...
Get that right, yeah.
Yeah.
But so, like, it goes back to that listener question last week as well, doesn't it? Like, there's Australian records there's records getting broken over every other distance.
Yep.
Just not the marathon.
Yet. Yeah. It's kind of, it's insane. Because since we've been doing this show, I was thinking about it, 8 men's and women's has been broken. 15 men's and women's has been broken. 3K men's and women's has been broken. Haven't got 5K from Mottram yet, but Benita's has been broken. Haven't got Benita's 10K yet, but the 10K's gone down a few times for the men since we started. Halves are still... Brett Robinson got the half, but the marathons haven't been touched.
The miles as well.
Yeah, so you're kind of talking about, like, must be 90% of the athletes' records have been broken in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sport's in a good place. Like, there's just so much more depth than what I remember, which I think depth, although we're talking about, like, the top end, people breaking records, like, that happens as a result of depth. So, which is, the best it's ever been.
Do you want to go to the rack half marathon yet to see Jacob Kiplimo? Went through in 13:23 for the first 5K, 26:56 for the first 10K. And he set a world's best for 15K before fading a bit. I think he still ran the 5th fastest half marathon ever when he ran 57:16, which is pretty cool. In the women's race, do you want to have a go at pronouncing that name, Bradley? Because I'll absolutely murder that. I'm not even going to try.
Throw me under the bus
I'm not even going to try.
I'll go Germawit as the first name. Gebra Zahir.
Yep, she won the women's race by 8 seconds over Helena Beery. And it was, I'm not sure why this article doesn't have the times, it was 64 something, wasn't it? Let me get that while you guys talk about the next bit of news there. You want to go to Tokyo announcements? I'll find that time.
Well, yeah, they're the two real big dogs of the marathoning world right now. Eliud Kipchoge and Brigid Kosgei, the world record holder in the marathon. Both world record holders headline the 2022 Tokyo Marathon field. There are two other 202 guys and Shura Katata, who has beaten Kipchoge in London. Sarah Hall's in for the Americans. No Australians, but looks like Sinead and Eloise Wellings are running Nagoya. And then paced by Izzy Batt-Doyle and potentially... Who else was there for the
Charlotte?
Pacing? Charlotte Purdue. Well, she's not Australian.
And Susan Crummins, I reckon, as well.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, they got their passes to Japan by the looks of it.
Hopefully we can watch. I remember that used to always be on like Fox, the Tokyo Marathon. So hopefully we can get a stream of that somewhere.
Good to
Surely.
see Keely.
World Marathon.
I mean, Kipchoge getting away from the London, Berlin, because he just did that for so many years, didn't he?
Getting away. They must have opened their purse strings over there to get him away.
Yeah, and that's obviously why he kept doing them. Fast courses, good money.
Well, I don't think there's any shortage of money when it comes to marathon running in Japan. Remember a few years back where $1 million if you broke the national record. So,
true.
They would have thrown a bit at him. Those half marathon results, boys: 64:14 and 64:22. So fast, real fast.
Yep.
Real fast there. Yeah, it's good to see Kipchoge there. I did hear this a bit actually a couple of months ago. I told you guys early on, remember? I said it's going to come out in Feb, but just act surprised when it happens. Kipchoge's running Tokyo. Get excited about it at the time, but it's news for you now. I think that was December, I told you guys that. The O'Keefe Challenge is coming up on Sunday the 1st of May. How would you match up against my race record in the half marathon from 2019? Or what about Moose's marathon time when he won the race in 2017? There's only one way to find out. Enter either the 5K, the 10K, the half marathon or the marathon at theo'keefe.com.au. Anyway, Jakob Croaks, take me to your man, Ingebrigtsen.
Yeah, my new teammate, Jakob. He's for those that don't know, he's the youngest man in history to break 4 minutes for the mile and is the second youngest Olympic 1500 metre champion in history. He broke another world record, this time the 1500 metre indoor. He ran 3:30.6 at a meet in France. This is his first race of 2022 and it's also his first race without his father standing on the sidelines as coach. So he won he closed in 55.52 for the final 400 metres, won by over 3 seconds from Samuel Tafira of Ethiopia, who was the former world record holder.
Pretty amazing. He just makes it, I watched it yesterday actually, he just makes it look so smooth.
Yeah.
Never strains. Technique is always and he's just strong through the hips.
And when he accelerates, it doesn't look like it's much of an acceleration. Like, you know those real explosive guys, like Cole Hocker. Like, you look at him and when he kicks, it goes from like 0 to 100 in no time. Whereas it's real subtle with Jakob.
Yeah, and it's arms and legs. It's not until you look at the guys that are dropping, their arms and legs are everywhere and they're all over the shop, and he's just still smooth out in front.
Yeah.
Ask your coach Christian if he's got any technique work for you coming up, because I reckon they do a lot of that. I reckon you need to set up a mirror.
I haven't seen him do any.
I know, neither have I, but they're all smooth. Set a mirror up in front of your treadmill, Croaks.
I reckon their hills, they get a lot of benefit from those short hills, I reckon. Just in terms of mechanics and power and that sort of thing. So that'll be me in a few months.
Yeah.
Should we go listen to the question?
Yeah, we'll whip through. We've got about 10 minutes till we need Welshie, and we've still got a few segments to get through. So, or do you want to skip listen to question?
Yeah, right.
Let's go to Train Talk, Croaks. Talk us about Train Talk.
Yeah, all right. So we've got a Training Talk segment partner this week. So this Training Talk segment is sponsored by Blackroll. Go to www.blackroll.com.au to check out their new fascia massage gun and sleep recovery range. So, the Training Talk this week, I'm going to talk about a progression run. So there's so many variations here. I think the most common one's probably, you start off jogging and you just slowly increase the pace. But I want to talk more about the one that you do as a session after you've done a warm-up. So firstly, the benefits of this one. I think people that benefit from this a lot are ones that go out too hard in sessions and also go too hard at the start of races. So the good thing about a progression run is it teaches patience, pacing, and also makes you disciplined, because if you don't start off slow, you've pretty much stuffed the session right from the start. So that's one benefit of it. Another one I find is if your motivation's quite low. I'm sure you've all experienced it, boys, where you're just like, oh, I know this session's going to hurt. I'm really not up for it. Where the good thing about a progression run is I personally think the first half to 2/3 of the session should feel quite enjoyable and relaxed. And so you can actually work your way into it. And then often once you start a session, the motivation actually increases from there. It also sort of replicates a race feel to a point in that, perceived effort when you're doing a race generally gets harder, and then you got to practice running fast on tired legs. So there are a couple of benefits. Now, how I go about, working out what pace I start at and finish at is I often work backwards. So if I'm doing like a 30-minute progression run in, say, 5-minute increments, I try and work out, all right, where do I want to, how fast do I want to be running in the last 5-minute segment? And for me, it's somewhere around generally like 10K pace or slightly slower. And so then I normally get faster by about 5 seconds a K, or 5 seconds a K in each 5-minute segment. So then I work backwards. So I'll be like, all right, it means I'm going to start at 3:30s, which is significantly slower than marathon pace, which feels super comfortable. So, but there's a lot of different ways to do this. You can do it. So I will say that one of the benefits, so you probably want to be doing this on a flatter surface. It's pretty hard over undulations. It's also hard in summer because perceived effort and heart rate just goes through the roof the longer you're out there. What do you boys think? I think it's an underrated session, to be honest.
And it's a good confidence booster. Like if you do it properly, you finish on that high, instead of being cooked 3/4 of the way through a workout. I also think sometimes I've fallen into the trap with progression runs is trying, even if it doesn't feel easy at the start, I've got fixated on this is the pace I'm going to go for the first 3K, and then I'm going to change gears. And if it doesn't feel easy, what you should do is go, okay, I'm not going to worry about the pace today. I just want to ease things back so I know I've still got 2 levels to progress to.
Yeah, that's a good point,
yeah,
Brady.
So sometimes, like in the past, I've said, I'm going to do 3K at 3:30, 3K at 3:20, 3K at 3:10. And I've often used progression runs, like you said, when you're kind of not feeling great after work, I just want to get something done. And then like 2K into that first 3K, you're like, oh, this actually feels pretty tough today. But instead you're a bit of a sucker to the watch and you keep pushing through. And then you end up pulling out the session 5K in instead of actually going to next levels. So, yeah.
And I think if you're new to it as well, you don't want to get too aggressive with how fast you get, because I've given this to people who haven't been running that long and don't have the strength behind them. And what we would think is just, moderate paced running actually takes more out of them than a more stronger runner. So somebody who's really aerobically strong, they can obviously run at a higher pace or closer to their max for longer. So if you're quite inexperienced, I would say start really conservative and don't expect to, get down to 10K pace. So, yeah.
Especially the first time you do it, go on the conservative side of things.
Yeah.
You do these much moves? I'm not sure if you ever talk about progression runs. You do the yo-yo a bit, over, under.
I like progression, yeah. It's good when you don't really have an idea on your fitness, so you can't prescribe paces, and you can use it to feel as well. So if you're not feeling great, then there's no pressure to run faster. So I like them, but I don't use them that often. Use it kind of do a run to the barn type run that is a progression run, but maybe less structured and more fast finish than progression. But it's all the same, really, isn't it? It's sort of you can use them as a B grade type workout where they're not that stressful. They kind of fill in a spot almost, fill in a bit of a hole where you don't want a hard workout, but you also don't want to jog.
I don't know about you boys, but I also reckon it's not a bad thing to do pre-marathon build, because you can get a fair bit of moderate paced running in, so you're not burying yourself, but you're out there for a decent period. You can be out there for a decent period of time, and so it's sort of training the brain a little bit. It's putting some volume into the legs, which probably the majority of it at that time of your build is slower than marathon pace before you then get into the more marathon specific stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Sometimes I'll do a mid-long during the week. If you're doing 2 workouts, a Tuesday and a Saturday, this can fit in on a Thursday, one of these runs.
Yeah. But just be cautious. Like, I don't do these much in summer, especially if I want to try and have it structured where I do get faster, because heart rate just goes through the roof, perceived effort goes through the roof, and so in winter the paces that would normally be quite moderate are now becoming quite hard, and you can't really progress it that well. So
heart rate monitor is good as well, Croaks. Hey, I'm not going over 140 for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's the other option.
Yeah, not going over 150 for the next 10 minutes, whatever.
Yep.
And you might actually realise, I said this to someone the other day, the pace might actually be pretty similar. You're just getting more tired and your heart rate's getting pretty higher. But you're progressing your heart rate. You're not progressing the pace.
So just a couple other times I've used this would be, I've done a 3x3K or a 3x4K where I've gone first, and often it's a lap of something, so a lap of Yerriby or a lap of the AIS 3K loop, and it might be 10 seconds a K slower than marathon pace for the first rep, marathon pace for the second. And that first 6K feels super easy, and then I'll go somewhere between 5 and 10 seconds a K, then faster for the last lap again. And then actually once I did a run with Brett Cartwright, and it was we started off, we did maybe 2K real easy, and then we went every K we descended. So it was 4 minutes, 3:55, 3:50, 3:45, 3:40, 3:35, 3:30, 3:25, 3:20, all the way down to 3:10. And so you end up with 12K worth of running. And the overall average pace is not super quick, but it does get you strong, having to just try and get a little bit faster each kilometre. So there's so many variations, but I think the key is start conservative and learn patience and discipline for this session.
Good stuff, Croaks. I like that.
Good session.
And tell us about the sponsor again before we move on.
Thanks to this week's sponsor, Blackroll, for sponsoring this edition of Training Talk. Visit www.blackroll.com.au to check out their new fascia massage gun and sleep recovery range. With code INSIDE20, you can save 20%.
20% off? Wonder what the sleep recovery range is.
What do you mean? What product it is?
Yeah, what would it be?
Do you reckon it's tights?
Maybe. What are those those compression things?
Don't know, but this is going to get people to Blackroll like us later when we go for a bit of a browse on our phones.
20%. Oh, I'm just on it now. Different pillowcases and stuff. Anyway, sorry, we've got to move on.
Pillowcases?
Yeah, different recovery pillowcases and stuff. Sleep products.
A recovery blanket?
Yeah, that's on there. Ultralight recovery blanket.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Interesting.
You'll be purchasing this stuff coming up.
I am all over this.
Tell me about your segment though, Moose. Moose on the loose, purchase of the week, rules of Strava. What do you got?
Well, I kind of batted away at Josh before. That's a real trigger of mine. Someone just doing too much and ignoring their coach. That's what's the point in having someone guide you if you're going to ignore them? So I feel bad for you, Clousy. Even though you were too soft, I feel bad for you. I think the dog thing will keep people going for a while because they're probably a couple of episodes behind. So we'll let them get through that first. I had a pretty good week, so I'm not too upset about anything.
All right, that's good. Should we go to our guest, fellas? Richard Welsh, the race director down at the Hobart Run the Bridge. I'm just adding him into the conversation at the moment. Always been a good supporter of the Inside Run and podcast. Welsh does a good job with his events down there. And this field is super elite. I sent it through to you guys today. I've also put it down at the bottom of the website. Oh, here it is. Hey, mate. How you going?
Awesome. How are you?
Jeez, look at the high-quality microphone you got there.
It's a new toy from today. Special edition just for you boys.
Just for us. Give us an update. What's going on down in Tasmania? Thanks for joining the show again.
Mate, it's race week. It's fun times ahead. We're hoping to put on another cracker event this weekend at Think Big Run the Bridge. New sponsors' names, awesome elite fields, plenty happening in the NFT world, and great to be with you to tell you all about it.
Do you want to go women's or men's race first, mate? Do the women start? They're getting the handicap. They're getting the head start. Still doing that this year?
Yes, indeed. It's our nice little difference that we have across many other events. So for first-time listeners to it all, we give the elite women a head start. And we've got a nice field. I'm still trying to recruit a couple more locals to pad it out a bit. But at the pointy end, that's about as sharp as it gets. We've got 4 Olympians lining up. 3 of them went to Tokyo last year. We'll kick it off with my girl Millie Clark from the top, 2019 race winner. Her last 10K race, she ran a PB at Burnie, got down to 33.02, and then, of course, won the Melbourne Marathon, and is fitter than she was that day. And she told me she desperately wants to break 33 minutes and be a 32 girl. So Clarkie coming down from Launceston, pretty keen for the race. The one with the quickest PB in the field, Sinead Diver, hasn't won this race before, but has, of course, run 31.25 at the World Champs in Doha back in 2019 and had a massive year last year, 10th at the Olympics. And keen to get a win on the streets of Hobart. She's won the Lonnie 10 before and wants to go pretty well here as she looks to... I believe she's going to do the 10,000 at the World Champs, so this could be her distance this year, boys.
Do you know if she's fit Welshie? Because saw her name down for Melbourne half and didn't race that, and then Zatopek was a late scratching there as well.
No, I don't know her current training status, so I'm not sure where she's at, but... You know, I've never known her to line up in a race if she's not fit. So chances are she pulled out of those because something wasn't right. But if she's going to come down and her coach, Nick, knows most of the field, so he wouldn't be putting her out there if she wasn't ready to go, you wouldn't think.
Yeah, so expect some good things for Sinead because her marathon's coming up in a few weeks, I think, so she'd be fit.
Yeah, look, she's obviously looking for a fast hit out and a lumpy course, which this course does favour the marathoners usually. But then saying that, Jen Gregson set a course record last year on it, so it favours the right athlete on the right day, I think. We've also got Izzy Batt-Doyle coming, fresh off a pretty good run over 5,000 the other week in Adelaide, PB 31.43, beaten on the roads at the Burnie 10 by a fellow Adelaide athlete. So looking to probably make amends for that, and hasn't run the bridge before, but we'll see how her 5,000 metre strength goes as she runs up over Rosny Hill and up over the Tasman Bridge. And then we got the other Olympian in the field with a PB of 31.39, the 2-time current standing 10,000 metre champion of Australia, Rose Davies.
This is a strong field. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's and we watched Izzy, beat Rose over the 5K a couple of weeks ago, but then Rose got her at Zatopek. But then Izzy's debut on the road over the half marathon at Melbourne as well shows that she's got the strength there. Who, I know you'll say Millie because you manage her, but who's just picked for second outside of Millie?
No, look, I'm realistic. You know, a lot of these girls are faster than Millie, and look, I haven't finished, so that's just the Olympians. We've also got Charlotte Purdue, who hasn't done too much in Australia this summer, and what'd she run last year? And was in London 2:24 or even 2:23, like super quick marathons. Has run 32:03 for a 10K, and has run this race a couple of times before, so she's had a bit more of a look at it than others. Marnie Ponton is going pretty well as well, 32.51 her PB, and ran the course record at the Cadbury Marathon last year. And Carly Thackeray, the other Pom, 33.59 her PB. She'll be a little bit out of it. But look, I think in that field, if Sinead's ready to pump out a marathon, and she's run this course a few times before, I think she's going to be the one to beat.
Croaks, who you got in the women's field? Moose, get ready. I'm asking you after that.
I'm going to go Izzy Batt-Doyle. I think she's in good form off the back of a 5K, and I think she showed in Melbourne that she's got the strength and runs well on the roads. So I'll go Izzy.
Moose?
Yeah, I'm going Izzy too. She's like, she got beaten at Zatopek, sure, but I think this is very different to a track race. And have we seen Rose on the roads before?
She's done Noosa.
5K.
She ran 30. She ran 32.0 something at Launceston in 2020 as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still with Izzy. I think this suits her.
The hills, yeah. But if Rose is there with 500 to go.
Charlotte will be interesting though, because she has run. I think it was. I mean, was it 2:22 even? Oh no, 2:23. I think it was it was very fast. It was super impressive and turned a lot of heads. So she's good.
Sinead, off the top of your head, third last year, Welshie, in that sprint with wasn't Ali second, Jen first, but this time was pretty good from Sinead as well.
Yeah, it was. It was deep too, because then we had Sakafian and Millie, I think.
That's right, yeah.
And Tringo or Stenson was there too. So,
and wasn't Sinead under she was under the course record as well last year? Didn't all three of them beat it?
Yeah, you're right. I think off the top of my head, she was 32.41. So, third fastest ever on the course, I'd say.
Yeah, it's hard to go past Sinead then as well, isn't it?
Yeah, she knows it well. So, look, it'll be good. We nearly had Waitman in there as well, and she couldn't make it in the end, but she was pretty keen to be signed up for it. So if we had her in there too, it would have been even more enticing with the Australian marathoners and absolutely flying at the moment, and all playing a little bit of cat and mouse, see who does what at Com Games and World Champs. So it's an exciting year, and I like to think this is the first of the races on the roads post Zatopek to show us their form.
Yeah, you're right about that. Men's race, mate. There's a few Olympians in this one as well.
Yeah, it's chopped and changed a little bit. Had a couple of late changes, and as always happens to us event organisers, athletes still have things come up, but we've still assembled a really good field. The two-time winner and the guy probably start the favourite. He's the quickest in the field. Brett Robinson is going to be tough one to beat. He won it in 2019, set a course record, ran 28.30, and then won it again a year later, running 28.32. Didn't run Zatopek though. I'm not sure why not, but
he had COVID.
Yeah,
that's a fair excuse really these days, isn't it? Yep. Liam Adams, 4-time winner of the race. He's really owned the streets of Tasmania in recent years. He's won pretty much every race that we've got going on. 28-11 man, obviously our number one marathoner at the Olympics last year in the blokes. So very difficult for him to not be there at least at the top of the bridge, and just after that is kind of when the races open up. Joel Tobin White's coming down. Have you guys seen him race recently?
No, it's a new name to me. Oh, actually, Zatopek, didn't he? Come third.
And that 5K, he come third.
No, he come third at Zatopek. No, fourth. Just didn't catch Liam. Yeah, we know Joel well.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Obviously, I know him. I just didn't know if he was, in shape or.
He come fourth. He nearly caught Liam to come third at Zatopek. And didn't he come third in this last year? He went with Jack and Liam, wasn't it? Last year they broke away. Pretty sure.
Jeez, you're good. The women's race was so hot last year. I think I stopped watching the men's one. So that's kind of what can happen with this head start. The others in there, Andy Buchanan's a late starter, 2-time national cross country champion.
Good on the hills too, Andy.
Yeah. Tim Vincent, after third at Melbourne half, I think he was just gone. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep, 62 minutes. And had a bit of a shocker for him at Zatopek, so he'll be keen to bounce back.
Rogues is coming, Michael Roger. Fresh off a pretty good run in Adelaide over 5,000 the other week. Andre Waring, who was also okay at Zatopek, keen to come down and see what he can do over the same distance on the streets. And one to watch, boys, locally. He sort of upset a lot of people on Friday night in Hobart at the Tasmanian Track and Field Championships. Is Bailey Murzecki-Hince. He's trained by Collis Birmingham and outshone Nick Earl and Sam Clifford in the Tasmanian 5,000 metres and ran a massive PB and beat the boys by length of the straight, ran 14.18, which is the quickest.
Just finished talking about him, actually. We just brought it up half an hour ago. Yeah, big one.
Yeah, massive. So I'll be interested to see how he goes against the big boys over twice the distance on Sunday. So, Yeah, that field's changed a bit in the last couple of days. Unfortunately, a couple of boys got injured and bigger names. I won't say who's not coming, so we can focus on who is coming. We've also got Riley Cox and Jacob Cox as well, the boys coming over from Adelaide. So some nice solid depth there with Robbo and Liam probably the outstanding ones at the front of the pace.
It's both those Cox boys had good 5Ks, but it's hard to go past Brett Robinson, I think. Brett and Liam for first and second for me, boys. Anyone else got any other predictions there?
No, I think you're right there. I think Liam will make Brett's life difficult, but I think Brett will get him over the end.
You boys forgetting about David McNeil here.
No, I think he's a late scratching, isn't he? Welsh?
Yeah.
He's still on this list, though. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Like I said, the field's changed pretty quickly, so good to have a chat about these things. Unfortunately, hope McNeil's okay. And so the girls will get a 3-minute and 53-second head start on the bridge. So they'll start at 7:06 in the morning and 7 seconds. And then the boys will go 3:53 after that. So if you're watching the live stream, I think you're going to share it to your page. Otherwise, you can pick it up on the Run the Bridge page. And we'll have a camera on both. We'll have a motorbike on the blokes and a car on the girls, and $3,000 for the first male and female across the line. And we bumped it up this year, so it'll be a bonus $3,000 for the first person across the line. So correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm happy to be corrected because I'm used to it, but $6,000 for the first person across the line. Does that make it the richest 10K in the nation?
Have to. I don't know.
You would know. You would know.
You're asking three guys who have never won a 10K on the roads anywhere. So, it has to be, doesn't it?
I'm calling it. Look, and in addition, got a bit of a scoop for you if you're interested. In addition to the $6,000 to the first across the line, we're going to be the first ever fun run in the world to give away an NFT to all finishers. So it stands for non-fungible token, the people who are smarter than me call it. And it could be, and it might not be, but it could be valuable one day. So every finisher will get one, but the very first one, we're going to enter into a commercial arrangement with the winner and see if we can put it up on a crypto, Bitcoin, NFT marketplace or whatever the people tell me it is. And to give you a perception, I'm told that the NBA last year did $700 million in NFT memorabilia, and the first ever NFT piece of artwork sold last year for $69 million US. So I'm not suggesting those figures for the big Run the Bridge winner, but look, there's a lot of people that do fun runs around the world and endurance sports, cycling and triathlon and Ironmans, and so this will be the first ever given to a finisher of one of those, and the first ever that the winner of the first one ever will have an opportunity to make money and sell it off to someone. So
how do you get it?
You win the race, and then you get sent.
Is it an email, or do you get them on a USB or something? How's it work?
So everyone will get
We're too old.
You're real into this stuff, ain't you, Croaks? Bitcoin, all that kind of stuff.
I got no idea.
Yeah, whatever you just said, Welsh, I've got no idea what you're talking about.
I can't even charge my iPad.
No, fair question. So as soon as you went to finish the event, we got live results all feed in, and we partnered with a company called Active Place. So if you've got an Active Place account, they're kind of like a social media network and a marketplace for the sports space. You'll get a notification with it straight away. If not, you'll get a text message, and you'll also get an email. So you can click here to claim your NFT straight away. And it looks really cool. We've announced it on our website and socials. It's a fighter jet flies under the Tasman Bridge and goes up into the sky, and it comes out, and it's in an MP4 format. And then you go to a landing page, your website, and you claim it. And it sits on the blockchain. It can never be repeated. It can't be stolen. It can't be lost. And it's pretty unique. I don't fully understand it, but the people tell me it's the next big thing, and we're going to be the first big thing to do it.
I like it. Innovative, something new. Thanks again, Welshie, for your time. What time's it kick off Sunday morning? 7 o'clock, did you say?
Yeah, Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 7:06 for the women, 7:10 for the men, and we got the 5K starting at 10 to 8 as well.
Perfect. We'll share that live stream. It's always good quality down there. So looking forward to watching that Sunday morning before the long run, and that will get us inspired to go out and do a jog ourselves, I reckon.
Absolutely. Legends, boys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Welshie. Thanks again for your time.
See ya.
Cheers.
Good luck. All right, fellas, that's the end of our show. What's coming up in your life, Julian Spence? Anything? Training.
Training, a big week, back to the rat. Whoa, what's coming up this? I've probably got something on that's important. I'm going to get this Kaiser. You heard of Kaiser? Like they're sponsored Great Ocean Road this year.
They sponsored one of the teams that Steigen # won
they
as well.
They did, yes. So got an appointment there, sort of see how I can do an assessment on my strength and everything, and then maybe get a program to get stronger again.
Yeah, that's when you started losing it, when you stopped going to the gym. I've called that from day one. Yeah,
that was it, was it?
When you stopped going to Radford in Ballarat, you started living down in Anglesea. It's all gone downhill from you since then.
It was when I got Ali as a coach, actually. That's when I went downhill.
Yeah, that was the real nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
That's right. Croaks, what are you doing?
Track tomorrow night, a few more days of work, and then I think I'm going to do I've got a few guys training for Canberra Marathon at the moment, so they've got a long run / session on Saturday, so I might join them for the long run section of that.
Beautiful. Sounds good. All right, fellas.
You? What about you, mate? What's going on with you?
I'm going to work Wednesday and Friday, writing programs, doing some... I'm doing an interview Wednesday night, fellas. One of them, I'm so nervous about this interview as well, because I'd probably say this person is probably one of the top 3 most influential people on Australian distance running of all time.
Mona.
We've had Mona on heaps. I get nervous with Mona as well, but it's not Mona. New to the show, never had him on before. One of the most requested people we get asked to have on. He's been in charge as head coach of one of our Olympics for our Olympic team, and he's also coached one of our greatest marathoners of all time, and he's also an Olympian himself.
Wardlaw.
Yeah. Chris Wardlaw, Wednesday night, 7:30. So I want to do it with me. Do you want to come and do it as well, 2 of us?
I reckon you've got yourself sorted.
My heart is actually pumping. My heart is pumping like higher now just talking about it. I'm going to be so nervous.
You'll be right, mate. Just breathe.
Yeah, I know. He actually knew who I was when I emailed him too. He's like, "Yeah, I've heard about the podcast. Good work. Never listened to an episode, but Mono told me it's good." I'm like, "Okay, thanks." So do you want to do it? He's like, "Yep." Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be Wednesday night. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be on next week's show. Patreon on Thursday morning though. That's about it, fellas.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to this.
Send me some questions as well, boys. Send me some questions.
Don't fuck it up.
I'm not going to. Hopefully not. I haven't done an interview for a while, so hopefully.
Make sure you practice pronouncing his name, okay? Because that's
Chris
not one of your strong points.
Call him Rab, don't they?
Yeah.
Why do they call him Rab?
That could be your first question.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I'll write that down right now. Question 1. So I'm doing that, and then not much. Just laying low. All right, boys, we're done. See you next week.
See ya.
See ya.
The O'Keefe Challenge is a point-to-point event held between Bendigo and Heathcote, located in central Victoria. Moose has run it, I've run it, and Croaks wishes he's run it. Follow the historic O'Keefe Rail Trail as it weaves its way through bushland, open fields, farms, and past Lake Epilogue. There's a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, and a marathon on offer on Sunday, the 1st of May. Enter now at theo'keefe.com.au.
Hello, good evening. My name is Luke Matthews, and welcome to episode 7 of The Long and the Short of It, as part of the Inside Running podcast. I am joined, you know what? I think Louis had it a bit tough, so I'm joined by my good mate, Louis McAfee. How's it going?
Jeez, that's big. My good mate.
What
it's
do you
good
want,
that one
Luke?
of us thinks that way.
Don't worry, I'll be asking something fair.
I'm doing well. My girlfriend's just got back from America, so I am all right.
Wait, I didn't even know you had a girlfriend. Who's your girlfriend?
I know, right? I shouldn't, but I do.
Wait, what was she doing over there?
She is from there, so she works on a cruise company that bases itself out of America. So she goes back every month. She actually hasn't gone back because cruises haven't been going, but...
Sorry, I do know your girlfriend. Yeah.
Yes.
Amber.
You've met her before?
Yeah. Sorry, I just completely had a blank then. Yeah, I've met her before.
Querying me, why doesn't he remember me?
Well, you timed your COVID quarantine well then.
Yes, yeah. We've just moved into a new place as well, so I'm very fresh.
Where are you? Are you in Brizzy still?
Brisbane, yeah.
Yeah. No. Well, I don't know. I feel like the Maccabees have about 45 houses across Queensland. So
No, I'm paying for this one full price, and I'll let you know about it every day.
No, that's good. And feeling a little bit better from all the COVID stuff. I know that you're probably what 10 days out now?
Yeah, I did a session yesterday, so I'm all good.
Okay. All right. Well, then maybe we won't get into that too much.
Yep. We'll let that one go to next week.
we'll play it through the keeper. Yeah, I'm joined by my second guest. I'm sorry, third host. Introducing second in line, Jessica Trengove Stenson.
Hello. Sorry, I always chime in before the intro. Yes, I am here.
Yeah, I know that I can't remember if I said this online. On air or off air. I just always consider you Jess Trengove, even though not your last name now. So sorry, Dill.
It is okay.
Yeah, actually, I forgot to tell you. I'm chatting to your brother on Friday, Jess, which I'm
really do. That'll be. You guys will have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it's because he's he trades equities. So he's essentially like asset management, which is probably something that I haven't really considered too much, but it's obviously still a pretty cool space. But I just think it's amazing that he's at a pretty well-respected company, Lanyon Equities, and he's set up his own fund, and you have to be an athlete to get into it. So
yeah, no, he loves it. He's a hard worker, and he's really enjoying his work. You guys will have a lot to talk about on that front, and then obviously he's had some pretty nasty lower limb injuries as well. You can talk sport. It'll be good. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, he's newly married too, so maybe I need some advice.
When are you getting married?
Well, we're originally going to have it. I think we're going to have it in October, but I think we're going to push everything back 12 months because we're actually meant to have an engagement, but we pushed it back. We delayed that. So just because of all this outbreak with COVID and stuff. So,
fair enough.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll win a world champs medal, get a big fat bonus, and then hopefully I can pay for it. Because if not, it'll have to be leverage.
Then you'd probably be making 1/10 of what Jess's brother made as a footy player, but that's all right.
Yeah, and that's my whole career against his 1 year. Yeah, okay. So we kind of spoke off air about this and kind of throughout the week. Louis obviously coming off COVID, so has been easing back into training. Jess obviously got the injury, got the news about her injury and is cross training, and I've pretty much been injured for 2 years. So instead of, we're not going to necessarily just avoid it together, but maybe what we'll do is we'll kind of skim over our training for the week, just kind of say key things. And then what we did was we actually spoke to Brady, Moose, and Croaks, and we got a few listener questions. So we'll probably try to get through 3 or 4, I think it is. And then we'll get into our weekly segments. So, Louis, do you want to maybe kick off your training week with, I don't know, maybe like a key session, or I don't know if there's anything that COVID has taught you or something about training that's not necessarily getting into the Monday to Sunday, but just something that's for listeners, I suppose.
Well, to summarise, when was it? So I came off isolation on the Tuesday, and I was just running on the treadmill, and I thought, I'm not going to push this because it felt like my lungs were just like I had been smashing a vape for 3 days straight. Like I just could not get a breath in. And that was like probably throughout the day. So I just thought like there's no point in doing a session. And then I just wanted to run like half an hour just to feel good about my life. Like I always think that if you can run, then you should. And I think like, yeah, for me starting the day, obviously I need to do like half an hour. So I just did that until Sunday, and no time pressures or anything on Sunday. I just went out and tried to do a run, like an out and back run, and just see how far I could go out. So I think that for me that works. And I think like, I don't know, I'm not an expert on COVID and I'm not an expert on respiratory diseases, but there's no point in pushing something that's not there. So I didn't push anything until Sunday, and then felt pretty good on Sunday. So I did 70 minutes. And
Good
like,
work.
yeah, so
I
I think
reckon
that's the main part of my training week. There's nothing really to report. I didn't do any sessions. I just, ran easy for as little or as long as I thought was necessary, and then had a little bit of a go on Sunday.
I feel like you're a really smart trainer, Louis. You haven't had many injuries in your history in the past. have you?
Yeah, and I think I had some injuries when I was younger and learnt a lot about them. Like, not very intelligent book wise, but I know my body pretty well. So I just think, like I had a lot of bone stress injuries when I was younger. So I'd try and stick, to like feeling everything out rather than pace. And so that works for me.
I just like two things which I took out of that is one, because I know that you said that you like wanted to almost like start the day with a bit of a win and just kind of like get out. And I actually really agree with that. But another thing as well is I feel like when I'm really unmotivated to go out for a run, I do out and back runs because like say if I need to do an hour, I'll go out in half an hour because I know that there's no way that I can short it coming back.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I remember when I lived at my parents, I used literally just would do 7K out, 7K back, and I'd be like at the end of the 7K and I'd be like, far out, it's a long way back home. But like there's no other way. It's like literally a straight line.
Yeah. Like you know if you're going out 7K, well, like I can do this as slow as I want back, but I'm still going to have to go back. Yeah.
And I think the other thing as well is you kind of touched on it. It's like you're just like you're not pushing yourself. You're kind of just getting out. I often think that and I know that I've definitely fallen for this mistake in the past, is that people, I think, mistake being tired or being fatigued or feeling shit with being unfit. Like I remember 2016 and parts of 2017 and pretty much this parts of all year where I'd do a run at let's say 420s, and I'd do a run at 420s back in say January, and 420s just felt easy. And then I'd do a 420s run like a month or two later and it'd be like stressful. And because I wanted to like convince myself that I was as fit as I was back then, I'd run at 420 pace, but then I'd be absolutely cooked afterwards. When realistically, I should have just ran at 445s or 430s or something like that, and it would have
not read into it, just accepted it for what it was.
I used to do that all the time, and then I think last year when I was doing that marathon prep, like I just realized that I was feeling shit every day. So like there's no point in getting hung up on like if I'm fit or not, because I know I'm doing the Ks, but also like I'm just like I've had so many races where randomly one day you'll feel shit, and like that's the sport that we're in. Like it's not like a footy where once you get like a kick nailed, you can do that every day, like and it will feel the same. Like running just doesn't feel the same every day, so there's no point in stressing if you if you're not feeling it, because you can still do it, but
there are so many variables that play into it, and that's if it's still the case with Stewie that he doesn't wear a watch. I think that's one of his great assets, just being able to run to feel every day, because he's not looking at the data. We have so many reasons why we do want to track, pace and Ks and everything though, but I do love that concept of just getting out there with no watch and running.
Yeah, but you also got to think as well is like we've had some great. If I just look at just Australia, we've had some great runners. Up until let's call it 2010, and not to say that anyone past 2010 hasn't been good, but let's say 2010, like up until 2010, we've had awesome runners through the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and none of them would have ever used a GPS watch. A lot of it would have just been based on feel, doing the same loops. Like I remember speaking to Mona. His thing was that he used to do a 10-mile run every Wednesday or something like that. And he'd just do that, and that's what it was. Apparently, they measured it in like 2015, and it was actually like 15K. So it's like it didn't mean anything. Like what's a K gonna change in the scheme of 160 Ks?
Well, that's what Bauman do. Like is Schumacher still a coach there?
Yeah.
I think
so. They do those Badger miles, which
they're called Jerry miles for them, but Badger miles at Wisconsin.
Yeah, so 7-minute miles every mile. Like you do like a 56-minute run, that's 8 miles, but you might cover like 15, 16K. Yeah, you just don't know.
I think they don't include any miles in their weekly mileage that are slower than 7.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
No, I don't agree with that. The way that I was thinking it is that, like, if you...
but
the Badger miles were explained to me as, like, 7-minute mile pace. So...
Which is, like, what? It's 4:20 or something like that, I think?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, no, but I don't think Bauman are necessarily told, like, do 100 miles, and they end up getting 120. I think, like, in the end, they, like, do what they do, but they just consider their weekly kilometres, like, retrospectively, and just count it based on that 7-minute mile. I'm pretty sure Matt Hughes told me that. I feel like I might have maybe gone from the truth there, but anyway, yeah.
We're all just spitballing here. That's all right.
All right. What to next? Are you
I'll go.
Summarising your training, Luke?
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to lie. I didn't do a whole heap. To be honest with you, like, I did get on the cross trainer a few times. But yeah, like, I just feel like ever since I've kind of had this mindset that I'm getting surgery, like my motivation has been pretty low. Not necessarily low, just more like the sense of like, is there going to be any purpose out of actually getting sessions done or getting training done, considering that I'm not even going to be able to do any cross training for like 2 to 3 weeks or anything. And
we're talking like 1 week until surgery. So yeah.
And at the same time, like I remember speaking to Andy Bouchard about this, and I remember saying it because he really hurt his foot. I'm pretty sure his bone. Yeah. Something happened, but anyway, like whatever, he fucked up his foot really badly, and I was like, oh, you're just going to be like a madman on the cross trainer or the bike, and he's like, no, I'm not, because I'm going to. He's like, I don't want to get too fit because I don't want my heart and lungs to be further ahead than what my body is. And he told me this. He did this at the start of, I think it was the end of 20, or maybe it was the start of 2018. He told me that, and I was like, holy shit. That makes so much sense. Like you see, and I think like if you got a short injury, which is, maybe you get a stress fracture, which you can be back in, I don't know how, like stress fracture you can probably get back in like a couple months, or if you've got something where it's a minor injury and you can still come back. But if you have a really, really long injury, say hypothetically like a ruptured Achilles or potentially what I'm getting, where it's going to be a long way coming back. If your heart and lungs are further ahead than what your body is, you're going to train harder, faster. You're going to want to do more, but your body won't be able to handle it.
I think it even applies to shorter term injuries. Like certainly if you've got, a period of 4 weeks off and you're smashing it in cross training, and then you go out and run and your musculoskeletal system isn't ready for the cardiovascular fitness that you've got, you're setting yourself up to potentially get injured again. So, no, I think that's very true.
I always think with those injuries, maybe not the Achilles, because it's more of a failure, but your body's telling you to rest. Maybe take a rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rest isn't a bad thing.
But yeah, that's I don't know. So what did I do here? I did a session on the Monday, which was 6 by 6 minutes with 2 minutes recovery. I did a couple of hour ellipticals where I just got on there and just span the legs over. But yeah, pretty low key week. I don't know. I've obviously started a new internship last week, and that was pretty taxing. First day was like 12 or 13 hours door to door. Today was even 12 hours door to door. So it's pretty taxing, but it's all right. I'll probably get better with my timing once I get my surgery, once I kind of have everything going back together again, I'll be back in a more organized manner and routine. But for now, it's just whatever. I'll touch on this later. But yeah, I'll mention something later. But yeah, maybe JT, do you want to? Sorry, JST.
Well, my little win for the week was that I did 3 strength and conditioning sessions. So that's something that I'm really trying to prioritize at the moment, just to work on a few imbalances, develop my sort of lumbo-pelvic control, so where your spine and your pelvis meet. I think that's an area that, was weakened through pregnancy and childbirth, and I kind of, in my first year, got away with it a bit, and I was probably working on it a little bit more in the early days after giving birth, and I've been prioritising my running training in recent times over the strength and conditioning, and I do feel like I've just got room for improvement there. So I've been working on that, and session-wise, I did a few ellipticals, a few bike sessions, a few pull sessions. If I pull out one here, Wednesday, I jumped on the elliptical for 20 minutes just to do a warm-up, and then hopped onto the stationary bike and did a fartlek, so 4 sets of 4 by 60-second, 30-second recovery, 30-second. I've been enjoying that one on the bike, actually, just 1 minute and 30-second efforts. Even on the bike, 15-second efforts are good. I'm sort of finding ways to get my heart rate up more on the bike.
Is that like a stationary bike or an assault bike?
Yeah, that one was stationary. I jumped on the assault the other day though, and definitely